Dear Diary, today is September 18th, 2025, and today the scale said 235.4. I also noticed that the scale, which tracks my weights, every time I weigh over the whole time I've been weighing, because it's a smart scale that connects to an app on my phone, I noticed that it said, when I was looking at my stats today, that since I started use of this scale, and I've been weighing myself more consistently, which was started in January of 2021, I've only gained 8.6 pounds. And 8.6 pounds is the better part of 10 pounds, and gaining 10 pounds when you're overweight, or in my case, obese, is not ideal. But I just wanted to take a minute to appreciate my body's incredible ability to strive for homeostasis in all areas, of course, but using weight as an example, to be within less than 10 pounds difference of where I've been for at least 4 years, it's not too bad. I do still believe that I need to lose weight, a considerable amount of weight, in order to feel better and be healthier. But I just feel really, really grateful that my body is such a capable organism that it's able to look out for me in these ways that I don't even understand or can even appreciate most of the time. And what I wanted to talk about in today's video is I did meet with my pulmonologist, and he did go over my pulmonary function test that I had last week, and he did confirm that I am still in the moderately severe range for my FEV1 score, which means forced exhalation volume in 1 second. I don't exhale well. That sounds stupid, but you're supposed to be able to exhale in this sort of like bell curve where you have a spike up and then it peaks and then it slowly, tapers down as you finish your exhale. And my curve doesn't look like that at all. My curve is like a sharp uphill of like all my forced expiration to a peak, and then it steeply drops off. Meaning I don't have the power and length of exhalation that I should. And the good news is that, I guess if you can call it good news, is that is textbook equivalent to presentation of chronic obstructive asthma. So I'm not so much looking at emphysema or other restrictive problems of airway. I'm looking at more obstructive. And I guess the good news with obstructive is there's a notion that if you can manage the obstruction, then you can improve the quality of breathing. And as far as what's my obstruction, well, they don't know. In different people, it could be, a lot of phlegm or mucus, like, material, but I don't seem to have a lot of wheezing and stuff. And it can be inflammation which is what they're thinking is more so the case with me, is that maybe I have something, allergens, or it could be my autoimmune issues, but something is probably inflaming my lung tissue and not allowing me to properly exchange gases properly and, do decent exhales. So I have gas trapping and an obstruction of airflow. So sorry for anybody that doesn't have any interest in any of that. That's a quick detail of what the pulmonologist had to say. And sorry for anybody who understands all of that way better than I do, and I'm not even giving enough detail or specific numbers. I do have a copy of my test, and if anybody does have specific questions about specific details, I can look at the test. But so where do we go from here? Well, what kind of sucks is that I have just been getting over COVID. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know that I had COVID at the end of August and have been recovering from that. And not only did I not need another bout of COVID, but I also had some kind of a situation happen that basically I didn't know was happening with I get a biologic injection that's supposed to help tamper down the inflammation of my airways. It's called Xolair, and I'm supposed to get it every 2 weeks. And I'm coming up on a month now without having one of the injections because of something to do with my insurance approval and them reordering the serum. And yeah. So, so anyway, just bad timing that I haven't had my Xolair injections, which I wasn't sure how much they were helping anyway, but I think I do feel worse now that I'm trying to recuperate from this COVID, and I also don't have whatever benefit that those biologics might have been giving me. So yeah, I'm not feeling great with my breathing these days. And another thing that compounds my breathing and my proper airway function is I have vocal cord dysfunction, which is the muscles and structures around your vocal cords behave in an unusual and unhelpful way. Basically, it's kind of like it's not like a spasm. No, excuse me. It's not like a swelling. It's more of a spasm. Yeah. So the vocal cord dysfunction causes those structures to tense and spasm in a way that I can't really control, and it restricts the easy flow of air through my upper airway. And I've been to speech therapy about it, and I've tried to read and learn about it. And unfortunately, the asthma medications that I would be given for my asthma don't help with this problem. This problem is very much tied to stress, and they can feed into each other because clearly from my pulmonary function test, I have both. And when I start having, tightness here, it will increase my asthmatic symptoms. And when I have my asthmatic symptoms and I get stressed about, not being able to breathe easily, I get tension here as well. So, so he said, it's kind of a complex picture when you have both, trying to tease out how much, of your airway restriction is coming from one or the other, or a combination of both. And for sure, all of the time, I have a combination of both. But right now, especially because the COVID, P.S., if you haven't had it yet this year, watch out for sore throat. That was my first major and persistent symptom, and my voice is raspy, still. So I think that started to, flip the switch on me, going back into another exacerbation of my vocal cord dysfunction. And there are some things that I can do about it, certain breathing techniques and relaxation techniques and yoga, medicinal yoga super, super helps. So still going to do all those things. But what else did he say that anybody might be interested in? Basically, he's going to see me back in just a couple of weeks. He's going to have me go for some blood work where I can just rule out some genetic stuff or some metabolic stuff that could be going on related to my carcinoids. And it'll be glad to get those blood tests and, see what those numbers look like and rule that stuff out. But he's going to have me back in a couple weeks to go over that blood work and to tweak some medicine. And yes, it's going to be pharmaceutical, and I apologize, to anybody who might be watching that cares, but I am not a big fan of having to be on pharmaceuticals all the time. But I like this guy, this pulmonologist. He said that, the way they try to do it is they try to do a step up, step down modality where you step up medications until you reach a point where the person can show improved spirometry, hopefully, where they're breathing better. And then once the person sort of stabilizes, or gets control of their asthma management, then they can look at stepping down the medication. And as much as I hate the idea of taking pharmaceuticals and the possibility of side effects, which I always get all the side effects, I really want to breathe better. I just want to be capable. I want to be capable of more stuff. So, and as far as why, this could be going on with me, and again, we're going to do some blood tests to rule out some things, but he and I were talking, and just because I feel like this really, like I've had asthma for a while, and it was very much exacerbated by exertion, and now I know I've probably been dealing with vocal cord dysfunction for a while. It really ramped up after 2020, very early, March, April, May of 2020. I was very, very sick, and the flu test was negative, the strep test was negative. They chest x-rayed me and told me I had double pneumonia, and they did not have COVID tests at the time. It was right at the beginning of the pandemic and quarantine, and so it was probably COVID. And he has seen in his profession, a lot of damage that has been done to folks because of COVID. And no, it was not the vaccine. I didn't have a vaccine. The vaccine didn't exist. It was straight up COVID. And, in my case, it really is what started my increase of frequency and severity of asthma issues. And anyway, so, there's probably going to be a certain amount of damage that is permanent. And there was some mention, that maybe long COVID related. I don't really know a whole lot about that, but I know that they're doing more and more research, and they're finding that, COVID definitely has impacts on the circulatory system, and I guess the viscosity of the blood, and it increases the chance of clots and pulmonary embolisms and everything else related to clots. So in any case, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. So, do your own research, talk to your doctors. And I will say that I feel much encouraged after having my pulmonary appointment. And oh, one last thing that I wanted to say is, so okay, so right now, what am I doing in the meantime, since they're withholding the Xolair shots and I haven't yet gotten the results of the blood work for the doctor to tweak my medication. So like, what am I doing for medication right now? Well, right now I just have an albuterol rescue inhaler. And he did say that I could pre-treat before exertion, you know, if I'm going to exercise and be doing a lot of breathing, I could pre-treat with that. He said I could also use it, you know, as a rescue inhaler as needed if I have periods where I feel like I'm just not, you know, moving my air efficiently. And I have had a couple of those moments in the past couple of days since I've seen him where I have done the albuterol inhaler. But you know, it is rough for somebody who has anxiety like me, because it ramps you up. It, you know, it's like having a pot of coffee, and yeah, I don't love that feeling, but it definitely seems to help open my airway and help me get more air. So that's good. One other thing that I wanted to share that I just decided to do on my own is I decided out of desperation because of how bad my throat feels. And let me be clear, I'm not talking about like sore throat necessarily, like, you know, I'm having some kind of sore throat process. It's more like all of this spasm, and there's sort of like a croupy or phlegmy quality to the throat. Just very annoying. Like, it's a very irritated throat. I decided to go ahead and take an allergy pill, loratadine, just to see. I'm not big on even taking over the counter stuff, but I've heard good things about loratadine related to research that's being done about how it may help suppress tumor growth in the stomach, which, you know, I'll be all about that. Because also, I guess, related to histamine or allergy processes that happen in the digestive system. So anyway, I figured maybe I get two birds with one stone, take a loratadine, maybe it has some benefit to my stomach situation, and maybe it'll help if any of my throat constriction, irritation symptoms are related to allergens, because, you know, it's change of season right now, and going into fall, and there's definitely probably an uptick of new allergens for the new season. I'm looking around at all the wildflowers right now. And I took a loratadine last night for the first time to see if it would just help me sleep better and breathe better, and it totally helped. I mean, I'm not 100%, as you can probably still hear, but I feel like it did tampen down maybe some allergenic, like histamine response or something, and just decrease some of the inflammation in my throat a little bit, and maybe my airway in general. And like I said, as a bonus, maybe my gut. So, so yeah, I think that's good for now. This is probably a longer video than I intended for this journal entry. But if you are listening, thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. Definitely been in a place recently where I feel like, you know, I'll take all the support I can get. So thank you.